Alright, in today's video we're going to cover a few stories that on the surface seem unrelated, but together say a lot about where Canada is right now. We're going to talk about the Tate McRae backlash, selective patriotism, Alberta's role in the country, a very awkward political absence, CUSMA and trade reality, the expansion of MAID, and another potential pipeline deal Canada seems determined to talk itself out of. Let's get into it. So apparently Canada has decided that appearing in an Olympics ad is now an act of national betrayal. Tate McRae, Canadian born, raised here, does a Team USA Olympics commercial, and suddenly she's a traitor. Don't come back! You've turned your back on Canada! How dare you succeed somewhere else? Meanwhile, Mike Myers, who lives in the US and has for decades, flies into Canada last April, endorses Mark Carney, lectures Canadians, then flies right back to America. And what's the reaction? Nothing. Silence. Patriot status confirmed. So let me get this straight. A young artist builds a global career. Treason. A wealthy celebrity parachutes into influence politics. Hero. This is not patriotism. That is insecurity. So apparently Canada has decided that appearing in an Olympics ad is now an act of national betrayal. Yeah. Tate McRae here, Canadian born, raised here, does a Team USA Olympics commercial, and suddenly she's a traitor. Don't come back. You've turned your back on Canada. How dare you succeed somewhere else? Meanwhile, Mike Myers, who's lived in the US for decades, flies into Canada, endorses Mark Carney, lectures Canadians, then flies right back to America. And what was the reaction? Nothing. Silence. Patriot status confirmed. Okay, so let me get this straight. Young artist builds a global career. Treason. Wealthy celebrity parachutes into influence liberal politics. Hero. That is not patriotism. That is insecurity. Now, before anyone says this is just online noise, watch this clip from Steven Crowder today. Absolutely drops a bomb here.
The Canadian internet is mad right now because I guess a Canadian pop star, Tate McRae, she did this commercial for the Olympics that makes no sense, but it specifically is for the United States and NBC. This is offensive, I guess.
Oh, hi. I'm a bit lost.
Guess she can't read the signs.
Oh, nobody. Nobody's girl, that is.
What?
She's single!
For an amazing opening ceremony. I meet Team USA. Then it's the weekend with America's best skating for gold. And Lindsey Vonn's epic comeback. Then back to the States for the big game. Super Bowl 60. Okay, I'll just ask someone else then. Ah, forget it.
Cosa voleva Tate McCrae?
Non lo so, non parlo inglese.
So I was just checking my coffee for acid.
No, the owls were talking, Stephen.
Okay, all right. And different languages?
Italian, I think.
Okay, and she can't read a sign that is expressly put up to give directions. Correct. I got it. God forbid she has to look at a map. So 7,000 comments to that, and nary a positive one, to be clear. Bring them up right here. No amount of money could make me endorse the country that threatens mine. Arguably the most Alberta move imaginable. In the climate we are in and our sovereignty being threatened, being from Alberta really shows on her. The most Alberta-coded thing she's produced.
Because they hate Alberta. They should get rid of it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
Yeah. You guys hate it so much.
Yeah, she was born in That's enough. We get it. She was born in. Canadians consider Albertans to be treasonous, while the separatists from Quebec a failed province, their separatists get streets named after them. So really the problem is, do you like America? And by the way, this is one thing, too. People get really mad. Like, you're a traitor. Oh, you're supposed to be Team Canada. That's also silly. Like, we kind of allow other countries to feel like they can compete. But even if you just look at the 2024 Paris Olympics, 800 out of the 1,200 current, former, or incoming NCAA athletes competed for other countries.
Wow.
If you look at the Olympic Training Center, there are people from countries all over the world who come to the States to train, and then they represent another country that wouldn't be able to afford the kind of advanced training, equipment, facilities. So you know what? It's another one where the United States can just say, hey, you're welcome, the rest of the world. You benefit from us. We just ask that you stop complaining when standing there with your cup out. It's time for No Canada.
All right. So this is not really about Tate McRae. She's just the spark. This is really about loyalty theater in a country that exports talent, exports money, exports ambition, then gets offended when people stop acting grateful. And Alberta sees it clearer than most. They pay more. They get moralized at more. They get blocked more. They get treated like the family member you only call when rent is due. You're Team Canada when it's time to pay. You're treasonous the second you complain. This is not unity. This is extraction. Next, Carney's big Ontario announcement. Manufacturing, EVs, jobs, confidence. Except Doug Ford didn't show up. Let's watch this.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Barbara with iPolitics. Premier Ford is not here with you today. Does that mean that he doesn't support this strategy?
The Premier will speak for himself. We've been spending a lot of quality time together, the Premier and I, recently, whether it's at lunch or discussions at his home on a number of issues, including very much this issue in preparation for today's announcement.
Wow.
We spoke at length yesterday, the Premier and I. We saw each other the day before. A lot of time for the Premier, but there's only so much time I want to spend with the Premier of Ontario. No, just kidding. Premier will speak for himself. We're very aligned on these measures. This is a good look. I'll finish where I started. This is a great day. This is a great day. This is what a confident country does with a confident company. With confident, where's Flavio, the advanced manufacturer? There he is, hiding in plain sight. Advanced manufacturer producing the Aero 2.0, all Canadian parts, pointing to the future.
That's the sound of someone explaining why the guy didn't show up, is totally on board. We spend lots of time together. We were just together. There's only so much time I want to spend with him. Ha ha ha. Just kidding. Nothing says alignment like joking about how much you don't want to hang out with the person who skipped the event. See, then there's the classic line, the Premier will speak for himself. Translation, he's not here, he's not backing this publicly, and I'd like the question you just asked to disappear. And we all know why. These EV deals, especially anything involving Chinese manufacturers, are just economic policy. They're geopolitical decisions with long strings attached. And all those strings lead right back to Brookfield. Who are we kidding ourselves? Subsidies, opaque ownership, data concerns. If this deal was rock solid, Ford would have been there smiling. Instead, Carney got on a microphone and a very loud absence. Listen, I'm not a big fan of Doug Ford, but I got his back on this one. Okay, we got another one here from Jasmine Lane. Same interview, but this one they're going to be talking about CUSMA. So it's up for renewal this summer, which means the media has entered full anti-American panic mode, and social media has become an economics free-for-all. Canada doesn't need the U.S. America needs us more. Just play hardball. All right, let's watch Carney's actual answer.
You said removing auto tariffs is not the, quote, current objective of the U.S. administration. And I know that you said that Canada prefers there to be no tariffs. Yeah. But do you think that tariffs on the auto sector will be here in place for the long term, at least through the Trump administration's term?
Look, it's a review of the agreement. Under the current CUSMA agreement, it is not consistent with having auto tariffs that there are in place. We have matching counter tariffs. I think it's clear from the lesson of what's been happening over the course of the last year that the previous arrangements were more effective, and we're going to work hard to move back towards that, as is the Mexican government, as I think I can speak for the auto sector as a whole. It's given extensive consultations. That's what the auto sector thinks is in the best interests as well. That said, what we're doing today is robust to whatever tariff outcome happens in that review.
Robust.
The scale of the investment through the strategic response fund support, through those series of tax measure support, providing a better charging infrastructure for Canadians, incentives for Canadians to develop, to buy electric vehicles, as well as developing the entire supply chain from critical minerals through to batteries, all the way through to final vehicle assembly.
Okay, what he actually said here is pretty simple. Under CUSMA, auto tariffs aren't even consistent with the agreement. They're leverage. They're not policy. Canada has counter tariffs. Mexico wants stability. Everyone wants to go back to what worked. Then comes the part that people ignore. Our plan is robust to whatever tariff outcome happens. Okay, here's the translation. We're spending massive amounts of money regardless. Incentives, infrastructure, EV supply chains, industrial policy. And here's the part the online takes always miss. Canada and the US aren't in an argument on X. We're in a shared supply chain. Parts cross the border multiple times before a car is finished. This is not a breakup text. We're basically sharing a bank account together. You don't run an economy on resentment. You don't replace trade volume with slogans, and you don't bully your biggest customer and then expect a discount. All right. Now, this one matters. I am not a big fan of MAID. If you follow me on Facebook, you probably have guessed that already. But let's get into this. Let's talk about it. So every time MAID is criticized, we're told it's rare, it's compassionate, it's controlled. Meanwhile, it's one of the top leading causes of death in Canada. There's also that part. So let's take a look and see what this bill is actually doing. That was proposed here by Garnet Genius.
Mr. Genis, seconded by Mr. Doherty, moves for leave to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Criminal Code, Medical Assistance in Dying, Protection Against Coercion. This motion is deemed adopted. The Honourable Member for Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan.
Hear, hear. Mr. Speaker, today I am tabling an act to prevent coercion of persons not seeking medical assistance in dying, to stand with people with disabilities, veterans, the elderly, and all of those who have faced or are at risk of facing pressure and coercion around medically facilitated death.
Yeah.
As I do so, I want to honor the memory of Clemens von Galen. His heroic defense of the most vulnerable, especially in fighting involuntary euthanasia, is my example. Now, this new bill would prevent government bureaucrats from pushing medically facilitated death on those who are not asking for it.
Okay, so this doesn't ban MAID. It's going to be a while before we actually end up doing that, if we do at all. This just stops government bureaucrats from suggesting death to people who aren't asking for it. So disabled Canadians, veterans, seniors, people in poverty.
It does not apply to doctors and nurses, and it does not apply in any case where the patient or client has sought the information. But Canadians with disabilities, veterans, the elderly, and those living in poverty do not want government bureaucrats telling them that they should die when they are trying to access unrelated government services. Canadian law envisioned that these sensitive conversations would happen between a medical expert and a willing patient, not between a bureaucrat and a citizen who is not interested. And yet bureaucrats have pushed this on unwilling citizens again and again and again.
They sure have.
This bill would have absolutely no effect on individuals seeking a medically facilitated death. It is for those who are not seeking medically facilitated death. Mr. Speaker, this is a common sense reform that fills a gap in the law, and I hope that all of my colleagues will get behind it. Thank you.
Hear, hear.
The fact that this even needs legislation tells you something is very wrong in this country. Now let's look at this. So maybe some of you guys remember this story, but look at this. Mental illness, approved to die. This is not compassion. This is a system that's giving up. And then we had this one from a few weeks ago. Pressure from a spouse towards death. This is exactly what critics warned about. Care costs money, support takes time, treatment takes commitment. Death is fast, and it's cheap. And when the state starts offering death instead of fixing the suffering, well, then we don't have any more guardrails. All right, last one. Another potential multi-billion-dollar pipeline opportunity, this time tied to demand from India. Let's watch the response from Todd Hansen.
You say yes, that there is an appetite for all of that. Does that in principle mean that the federal government sees an appetite for an additional pipeline?
So, assuming we build in an environmentally responsible way, and we do it with the support of First Nations, I believe there is demand for additional natural gas, LPG, and conventional oil. There's also demand for critical minerals. There's also demand for potash. There's also an incredible opportunity to exchange capabilities with respect to renewables. What the Chinese and the Indian are doing in the way of baseload renewables is quite amazing. And we've got some real opportunities to take some of the technology and bring it here to develop our resources. At the same time, they look...
Okay, so... Oh man, this guy. So this was a masterclass in saying yes while meaning no. Yes in principle, assuming environmental approval, assuming First Nation support, assuming social license, assuming perfect consensus. Translation, we'll talk until the buyer leaves. Now watch how fast this pivots away from pipelines.
Look at many of our clean tech companies, particularly in the area of CCUS, and see a real opportunity to take that technology there. So there's many opportunities for us to work together.
Okay, and there it is. Renewables, clean tech, carbon capture, opportunities. See, India doesn't need a seminar. They need energy. While Canada talks, other countries are building, and they're building circles around us. They sign contracts, then they move on. This is how you lose deals without ever saying no. You don't reject them. You just talk until they go somewhere else. Whoopsies. So today we covered a lot. Cultural outrage, political theater, trade reality, moral collapse, and economic hesitation. Different stories, same pattern. If you found this helpful, thanks for watching. More to come soon.